Now let's head back over to our original security takeoff, and I'll just expand all this. So my next step from here would be generating an estimate. You'll want to come back over to the chat, and even something simple like create an estimate. And what your agent is going to be doing here is looking at all your takeoff items. If you had multiple takeoffs, you could even direct it to say create an estimate from takeoff 1 or takeoff 2, or combined items from both of those. And it's going to be looking at 3 different areas. It's going to be looking at your price book, it's going to be looking at your sources, and it'll look to the web if it doesn't find a price in any one of those 2 areas. A lot of people ask, is this accurate? Now, the accuracy comes from your price book. So this way, panel is not telling you, hey, you should be pricing at exactly this rate, exactly this amount. We optimized it to look at your prices first. So you could have your material, your labor, and even more things like equipment breakdown, markups. You could create custom columns as well within your price book to assist with the creation of any of those. They could be itemized material items, or they could be broader scopes of work or assemblies. All right, great. We have our estimate. You can see that within the chat, it's giving us a summary and also what it included, section breakdown, and this card that you could click and it'll bring you to this estimate tab. And you'll notice that it threw everything into the draft items. Think of this as kind of your sandbox, your playground, where you can ask the AI to generate estimates for you, and even individual price lookups or additional scopes of work if you want to add in, and it'll keep adding it to this section. Whereas once you're happy and reviewed any of these items, or even updated any quantities, markups, or breakdown, as I mentioned, between labor, material, equipment, subcontractor, or any custom columns that you have, notes for the customer, images. Once you're happy with that, you can finalize those items, and then you'll see that in your final items. This way, you don't have to worry about the AI adding in additional line items that you haven't reviewed yet. Everything you reviewed is kind of locked in place here. So again, you'll notice that it created it into these categories. Again, if you wanted to direct the AI to create any sections that you'd like, again, be more specific with it. You'll also notice that it has these badges telling you exactly where it found those items, whether it was your price book or the web. I'll show you your price book and sources a little bit later in this video. A couple other housekeeping items. Markup, you also have the option to distribute or show as a separate line item. So if you have in your contract that you're allowed to show overhead and markup, and you want to display that particular line item to your customers, you could do that. Or if you want to blend in across all the other line items, you have the ability to do that. Discounts, and also the option for dual tax rates if needed in your province or state. Once you've reviewed and are happy with all their items, you can finalize all in batch or one by one. So to do that in batch, just click finalize. You can see it all moved over to the final items tab. From here, you're going to want to generate a scope of work. So you could ask your chat or click add scope, generate with AI. And what this is doing is it's looking at all your line items as well as your chat message thread, and leveraging your AI scope of work prompt that are in your settings. I'll show you this next, where you can actually format the structure of it and any standard inclusions or exclusions that you might want to add, so you're not directing or updating that message for each estimate, and it creates that standard across your organization as well. All right, great. So we have our scope of work. You can see that here. Inclusions, exclusions. These were generated by the AI. I could click save. All right, next you're going to want to prepare this for your client. Do this within my preview editor. And you can see this will display your logo, your company details. You can retitle this template from estimate, proposal, quote, whatever you'd like. And then you can see here my entire project overview with my scope of work. We have our table with our line items. Now, I do have on this template all the details here with quantity, unit rate, and so on, but you can customize as many templates as you'd like, even different languages. So I'll just go to this other one where you'll see I removed my scope of work. I didn't want that here, and I'm just displaying description and total. If you scroll down, there are those line items, the summary, and terms and conditions. So if I wanted to customize this, I would head over to manage your templates, which this would bring me to my settings. Setting times over here, estimates and templates. This is where you can quickly give your your template a title, select your language, whether it's default or not, markup distribution as we talked about earlier, even rounding modes, so it'll display the decimal places or not, or round to any of the next dollar figure that you'd like. Changing titles, scopes of work section, markup label. You can create templates with line items from your price book. So if you want to set those sections and items, you could create templates directly from that and speeding up time. Displaying those main sections, quick toggle on and off, and the line items, as I showed in that previous template, you could quickly enable or disable any of those. Since I'm here, some more customization that you might want to do is that scope of work prompt that I mentioned. So this is where you can set your standard inclusions, exclusions, or the structure of it. So you can see I have outlining key deliverables, important details. You can be more specific with this if you wanted a certain structure of that. AI research, this section here is going to help with getting your local pricing whenever we're looking at the web. So like I showed you the price book and web badges, this is where when it's referencing the web, you can set your location, but you could also set any extra URLs. So if you have a favorite supplier that you might want your agent to go look up at, as long as there's a public catalog, it'll find that. Or if you want to put any block domains, so if you don't want it to go to, let's say, Home Depot and Lowe's, and you just want it to stick to other standard suppliers, you can set that here as well.